Hey, good morning, folks. Welcome back to the Mark Kelly Farm channel. We are going out to haul some corn today. So if you want to come along, stick with us. "22 degrees this morning. Got a little hail last night, but not too much. It'll be gone by noon probably. But it's going to be a beautiful day. There's no wind. Gorgeous morning. So anyone can tell it's not harvest or anything like that. What we're hauling today is bin corn that's been stored in the bin all winter. And the local feed store here in town is running low on corn. So the gentleman I worked for during harvest called and asked if we could haul some corn into town for him. And of course we said, yeah, we'll help you out. But going to be loading some trucks out at the bins and hauling them in. We'll do 2 or 3 loads today. But should be a good time. Now the reason I got the call is their full-time guy that works for him is actually busy with his family getting their planting equipment ready for spring planting. So he's not able to drive as much, so that's why I got the call. So we're arriving now, so we'll get the truck warmed up, give it a quick check, and we'll get on the road. All right, we got truck all checked out. We are headed over, go out to the bins and get this baby loaded up, haul some corn. All right, we are ready to load. Sometimes the hardest part about loading corn is getting the truck centered underneath the downspout up there. But what I do is once I get lined up, I'll go along the ground and draw a line with my foot in the dirt. So as I'm pulling in, I can line up on that line in my mirrors. It makes things a lot easier. And then you see these boards and stuff down here on the ground. You line your tires up with these boards, and that's how you know where to stop. So like right now, my tires on this board, which is right underneath the downspout. We're going to put 4 piles in this trailer, so this is the first pile here. So when I pull forward for my next pile, I line my rear driver up with this board, and then when the front's full, I'll pull all the way forward to where my front trailer tire is lined up with this board, and then that fills the back of the trailer, and then I'll back up to where my front tire is lined up with this cone. So if you set yourself up pretty good, it's not too hard. So here at the bin site, we have 50,000 bushel bins, and there's about 1,000 bushels in a truckload, so there's about 50 truckloads in this bin. Now the bins have unload augers that go down underneath and pull grain out of the bin. Sometimes you'll have a side dump up on the side of the bin that's gravity feed, where you can just dump out of the bin until it gets down to that level, and then you would use this because that doesn't use any power if you have a side dump. But the bin unload auger is electric. It's got the big electric motor here. But then you have to have your loading conveyor. This moves around to whatever bin you're pulling out of. And the loader conveyor is run by a hydraulic motor. So we have to have a tractor to run that. So you always want to start your load conveyor first. Otherwise the corn would just sit here and pile up right here. So this gets started first, then we start the bin. So we got to get up in the 6140 here, fired up, and get the hydraulics going. Fairly easy process. Just turn the key on, let everything light up. The glow plugs are going to run, they'll run. Fire up the tractor, and then here's our PTO switch here. We click it back. Our elevator's running. See. So now we need to throttle up to about 1500 RPMs, and we're rolling. Now we got to turn this auger on here. that, by the way. Now once we start seeing the corn pile up top, we just go get in the truck and then we move to our next point here on the bottom, and we give this enough time to get in there. We don't have to shut the auger down. Now when you're on your last pile there, you come over here and be ready to turn everything off. So once you see it pile up, you do everything just the opposite. You turn the bin auger off first. That stops feeding corn into the conveyor, and then once the conveyor is cleared out, then you can turn the conveyor off. All right, we are all loaded. Now we're going to town. It'd be a nice little drive. All right, we're rolling into town. Gotta turn the Jake brake off. You full-time or pro drivers, as they like to be called, you're rolling into town, turn your Jake brake off. Do everybody a favor, be courteous. Nobody wants to hear that crap, even though you think it's really cool. Now the feed company we're delivering to is in the middle of town, so we got to snake our way through town here. But the reason they need the corn so bad is because the grass isn't growing in the pastures yet. So the farmers are needing corn to feed their cattle until that grass gets to growing. But we're going to snake our way through town here. Got to hit the scale here first before we go to the feed company. Got to get our heavy weight. Now we got to wait for our green light to come on, which means they have our weight, and we can head on over to the feed store. There we go. Well, now that we're on the way to the elevator, we're just tootling through town here. We can open the tarp up because we're not going very fast. You always want to make sure you open the trailer tarp up when you're offloading, because it can create quite a negative pressure inside that trailer if the load's going out really quick, and you can suck the sides of your truck in like a beer can or rip your tarp or something else. You also want to be careful when you're taking the tarp, unrolling and rolling, that you're not out in a heavy wind, because a heavy wind can damage things too. It can get up underneath the tarp when it's partially open and start bending things or ripping your tarp. Not a good thing, so always make sure you're in kind of a sheltered area if the wind's blowing when you're unrolling and rolling your tarp. Now we got to come in from a block away so we can get lined up with the ramp up here. If we were to come in on this other street over here, it'd be too tight of a corner. That's where we're headed. Well, it's nice when you got a crank anchor working. Now we got to work our way back out through the yard here, back out to the road, couple tight corners. Now that ramp going into the elevator there is so steep and short that we have to pull through and dump the back of the trailer first, because if we were to dump the front of the trailer and we lose the weight on the tractor, we might lose traction and not be able to get the back of the trailer up the ramp. So we dump the back trap first, and then we back up and dump the front. Now we're easing back on the scale. We have to get our light weight now, which is also called the tear weight, which is the weight of your truck empty, and then they subtract that weight from the heavy weight, and that gives you the weight of your load. We just gotta wait for our green light again. Alright, all weighed. Normally you would need to stop and get the weight ticket, but I let the lady know I'm doing 3 loads today, so she's gonna hold them till after my 3rd load, and then I don't have to get in and out of the truck so many times. Nice lady. There's our favorite color tractor dealership over there. Alright, we're on the edge of town. We're getting back on the highway. We are going to be eastbound and down, headed back to the bends. Sorry about the cracked window. You'd be hard-pressed not to find a window here in central Nebraska, or maybe even the Midwest, that doesn't have a chip or a crack in it, because there's lots of gravel roads that we travel out here, and there's always rocks flying when you're passing a vehicle going the other direction. So it's just a given. Might not even be able to find a windshield for this old Kenworth. You never know. About the time you put a new one in, it get another rock. Alright, we're on our last load, so we stopped to get some diesel here. You see it says highway diesel. There's a difference on the farm between highway diesel and the diesel you put in your tractors. The diesel you put in your tractors is a red colored diesel, and you don't pay taxes on it that you do on the highway diesel, because this has taxes attached to it to help with highway repairs, stuff like that. Or so that's the way it's supposed to work. So let's get this baby filled up. Now, you don't want to be caught putting farm diesel in a over-the-road vehicle, or a vehicle that's going to be on the highway, because that's a big fine, and that's the reason they color it red. So when the county mounties or the state troopers pull you over, they can tell whether you're running the right diesel or not. All right, we got our last load on board. Let's put the tarp on and head to town. Now, this feed mill here in town, or feed company, they roll their own feed, mix their own feed, and by rolling I mean it's a roller mill. It cracks the corn kernel, so it's easily digested by the animals that eat it, and they make it into all kinds of different animal feed, and you don't get any fresher than that, folks. So always look at your local feed store. If you want good fresh feed for your livestock, it's a lot fresher than what you're going to get at like the box store or something like that if you're just buying little amounts of it. The other good thing is too, if you have a few more animals and you're going through quite a bit of feed, you can get you what's called a gravity wagon, which is like a bin, a small bin on wheels that you can pull behind your vehicle. Instead of dealing with all the 50-pound bags of feed, you bring your gravity wagon in, and they'll fill it right there at the mill, and then you can take it home and feed using that. Much more convenient than dealing with the bags. Save your back. Now, if you got kind of a middle-of-the-road operation where you're using a little more than what you want to mess with bags, but not quite enough to go get you a gravity wagon, you can get a barrel, get you a good feed barrel, and you can bring a barrel down to the feed store. They'll fill a barrel for you. All right, we're all done. Let's go get our weigh tickets, see what we hauled today. All right, all totaled, we hauled about 172,000 pounds of corn today. Just over 172,000 pounds. That's a lot of corn. So now we're all done. The good thing is we don't have to drive clear out to the bins that are 20 miles out of town. We parked the truck at the boss's house, which is right here next to town. So it won't take us too long to go get us some lunch, because that's where we're headed now. All right, it was just a short little drive to go park the truck. Let's go get some lunch, because I'm starving like Marvin. Hello, Runza. Now, if you've never heard of the fast food restaurant named Runza, it's probably because it's kind of a Nebraska thing. I haven't really seen them anywhere else. But a Runza is actually kind of like a Hot Pocket that's got like beef and cabbage and cheese in it. I like my homemade ones, but I don't care for the ones at the store. But they make the best hamburgers in town. Their fries are fantastic, and they salt them when they come out of the fryer, which a lot of restaurants aren't doing anymore. That drives me crazy. French fries need salt. They have the best chili. It's even better than Wendy's chili. Yes, I said that. Problem is, they only serve it during the winter, which I don't know why, because I would buy it all year long. They also serve it, the chili comes, or it doesn't come with it, but they serve it as a special with a cinnamon roll, which is also only available in the winter. And a lot of people here dip their cinnamon roll in the chili. Tried it, don't like it. All right, folks, that's a wrap. Had a good morning hauling corn. Didn't take too long, just did 3 loads. So, gonna go home and see what the pups are doing. Kelly's working today. So I hope you enjoyed our little field trip. It's a lot less boring when you guys keep me company and come along with me. One of our regulars, Diane Richards, said she loves going on our field trips with us. So there you go, Diane, another somewhat of a field trip, even though it was work. So till next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. We'll see you back on the farm.